Today we are here with Inês Frade from AryaHub. She's one of the founders with Rui Miranda as well. So today she accepted the challenge to come here to our podcast. Good morning, Inês. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Marco. All good in here. Here in Portugal. I don't know where you're based, but
So
here
I'm
in
based in Brussels. So
in
currently,
Brussels. Okay. So here in Portugal, we are having a fantastic time in Santos Populares, which is a local festivity. So it's great.
here is very rainy. I don't remember
Oh,
the last
okay.
time that it rained so much in June.
That's the
Terrible.
downside. Yeah.
Yes. Inês, so tell me, what had you in mind to launch AryaHub with Rui? It was already 2 years ago, right? So you
Yeah, two
already did
years.
something with 2 years.
We actually celebrated our second anniversary on April 16. What made us do this? Basically, we were in between challenges, both me and Rui. It's those times where timing aligns without. We were both between challenges. Rui was leaving Team Lizer and I was leaving Parsley, which was a Swedish hub that I helped establish in Portugal. We thought, why not put into use all knowledge that we gather in the past years working with tech companies, working with people processes. We knew very well where the processes were broke. We've seen it a bunch of times because we both work a lot of years in consultancy and with startups as well. So why not put it into use, and instead of offering just a little bit of the cycle, so instead of focusing only on recruitment or in processes, why not open a company that focus in the full life cycle of the HR for tech companies? So that's what we did. We wanted to do things a little bit in the way we think it works, which is understand really well first and only then start and jump and start to implement. Sometimes people tend to jump into implementation without
Thinking
um
it correctly.
without thinking first.
You don't establish the right architecture before you start to build the house, and then you find out that we have issues here, so it will not
Exactly.
fit.
Exactly. So that was our approach, and we see things very alike. So why not started it together?
Something that I see a lot you doing, and also follow you a bit in LinkedIn. You speak a lot about scaling without chaos. When you have a process of 10, like you are a company of 10 people, you have a certain process that you can still do it by hand, and then you grow, and then usually you start to get chaos because those processes were not meant for that kind of usage. So one thing is to have one tool that is to fit one thing. Another thing, totally different, is to have a proper enterprise grade solution. It needs to work correctly and not being always waiting for the manual process A, manual process B, manual process C. How you help companies to identify those problems, because many times there are hidden problems. Only that specific person knows about it because she keeps doing it. How you kind of start to push the line to find out the issues, because I really see those issues. So we work in a very similar industry. On my side, I also see it quite often with my clients. So how you find out those big bottlenecks, those big creators of chaos within a process and within the organization.
I mean, I could tell you that each case is a case, and it's true. Okay,
Sure,
each case
each
is a
company
case.
is unique.
Each company has its own problems, but actually, we can see a pretty good x ray of when things usually start to break. Okay, and that's because we've seen it a lot, and usually until 20, 30 people, everything works because you can speak with proximity. But then after that, as you mentioned, decisions need to be made. And if you're stuck within one decision maker, things start to break. When more stakeholders come into the place, usually it starts to break as well. And especially in recruitment, because that's a little bit of our common niche between our companies. What usually happen is that companies keep focused on hiring more and more and more candidates without rethinking the process. And then the problems start to happen. Usually people come to us, and the people that come to us are usually founders or leads of recruitment teams, for example, because the process starts to break. There is not a lot of super senior available candidates in IT, and we know that, and that's a statement issue. But usually what lacks is that the profile is not clear enough. It was clear when your company was a 10 people company and you could talk.
Copy paste of the job description of 2 years ago.
Exactly.
You need to give me job description. Okay. Quick and dirty, copy paste. 2 years ago, it's this, and then the person goes to the interview. But in fact, you don't want a senior Java developer. You want a senior DevOps.
It lacks clarity, and usually what we do, because your original question is like how we help scale without chaos, we start with this clarification and we do a pretty good diagnosis of what happened inside your company. So what are your stakeholders? What are your decision makers? How is your RASI map? And sometimes this is something that companies don't even know what it is, so they don't know who owns the task, who is the decision maker, who needs to run the day-to-day operation. So it's kind of blurred to them. And what we do is that we do this diagnose and we do a roadmap, and then we implement on top of this. Usually we tend to see first and then implement only after. That's usually
analysis phase, that you need to agree with the stakeholders, show that okay, the process, the problem is here, and many times within the organization you have many bottlenecks. In my opinion, implementation only works if it's gradual. If you inject too many changes at once in an organization, people will refuse it. So you need to identify, here's the biggest bottleneck, because to propose a solution, it's easy. To change the mentality of the people, that's the hard part. The softwares, there's plenty. The problem is people refuse to use the software because they were
or the software don't fit your process because the process is not ready to do so. But you mentioned a pretty good point, which is change management, which is something that we also do. And we always do a roadmap that it's, of course, aligned with leaders, but then is shared with the teams. And we usually bring the people to help us redesign the processes and accommodate new processes in order to increase the acceptance rate of the changes that we do.
Yeah, it's very important. And something that you also do a lot, it's RPO, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is RPO? So just to have a good definition of an expert of RPO.
We like to call it embedded recruiter, which is actually what it is. So it's one of our experts, one of our recruiters, can be junior, mid, senior. It will depend on the need of the client. So we are totally open to the scope that the client wants. And we embedded one of our team members into the client's team to run the operations with them. So it's basically when you're in need, when you're in a peak of work, when you need a fast solutions to be integrated and a hands-on professional that will respond to your daily tasks and daily operations, because sometimes that's where things break. Like there is a lot of work to do and there are not enough hands to do it. So we inject an embedded recruiter into your team that will help you run the daily operations.
But RPO, it's a recruitment process optimization, right?
Yeah, it's recruitment process outsourcing.
It's outsourcing. Okay, I thought it was optimization. Okay, so it would be kind of a staffing of a recruiter within the organization, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's when you inject a recruitment person on your client.
You have your own specialists of recruitment already, but they also will bring best practices to the company.
Definitely. And that's one of the things that it's embedded in all our RPOs. And we do it for recruitment. We do embedded recruiters, which is RPOs, but we also do embedded HR. But all our professionals, our consultants, they follow our methodology, which is bringing continuous improvement. So we use a lot of Kaizen, bringing continuous improvement to the processes they work with. So we have, for example, one client that we work with, and we have already 4 recruiters there, so embedded within our client's team. As they do the process every day, they started to implement changes changes and they first identify some things that could be improved. For example, scheduling interviews. How can this be optimized? It's not working really well. So how can we optimize this, bring some automation for this process of scheduling interviews? And they implement changes together with the client and they propose first to the client, but they're always in the lookout for how they can optimize the processes.
The great thing that people do not understand correctly is a new pair of eyes brings a totally different new perspective to your business, and especially when people have been in other clients, so they can really bring the best practices that they have seen it working. So it's not theoretical. They have seen it working pretty well on the market, and then they can bring to the new organization. In my opinion, the companies that explore that and take it as added value, that critique, look, in my past, if you do it in this way, you have better results. And sometimes companies do not want to change their process. A process is something that continuous gets improved, and continuous is never defined. It's keeping, in my opinion, it's always changing a process slowly.
It's a living environment.
Bit by bit, you keep improving it, and in order to make sure that the process doesn't die and it keeps up to date. But the companies and the team leaders and the responsibles of that department, that, okay, I'm not hiring just a person to execute tasks, hiring a brain that will bring new ideas as well. So the companies that have that approach, that mindset, and I think you also can coach them when they hire you, looking to say, so that's your process, we'll follow your process, but be aware that we'll improve. We will at least report the bottlenecks, and we also report suggestions of improvement of your current process.
We also do that, and we usually implement a small governance model. You touched a very interesting point in we follow and we adapt to your daily operations, but we will bring improvement. And actually, our recruiters do that. I can give you an example. In one of our clients, on the first 2 weeks of processes, one of our recruiters did a report saying, if you want to hire in this specific small market, which is Porto, which is a very niche market, you would need to increase your budget for X, because I contacted 400 people and these are the responses. So you need to change your job description a little bit. And within over time, with data that the recruiter brought them, they changed. For example, they passed to be on site to be fully remote because they understand. They raised the budget. They shortened down the recruitment process from 5 phases to 3 phases. So that ongoing change, and we do it through our reports of the work and with our suggestions for next steps.
So basically, you also do an assessment of the existing tools and, of course, AI, right? So we cannot have this conversation of process improvement without AI. I see AI intelligence as a tool that you should use. The most important part is to define the process, and then you need to identify where AI will really be helpful and will really leverage the process. It's not that you have a bad process, you just throw AI into it and it's like, be the magic wonder, be the silver bullet that will solve all my problems, AI. And usually then they say it doesn't work, the results are not accurate, it's just hallucinating a lot. So what's your take? What the magic solution?
Actually, here at AryaHub, we tend to agree a lot with you, and personally, I agree with you. There is no magic pill. So AI, it's not a magic pill that will do everything for us, steal our jobs or something like that. And we here used to say that AI is not going to replace HR people. It's only going to replace the people that don't use it well and that don't know how to implement it. So that's a little bit what we try to bring to our clients here. It's like, how can you use AI in a better way to serve you and not to scale your chaos? Because if you throw it on top of a broken process, it will just scale the errors that the process already has and will not bring clarity. So our approach here at AryaHub on AI is that you need to know really well your process, change the process in order to accommodate AI, map really well where AI will enter. For example, here at AryaHub, we use it for take notes of our interviews. We use it for CV formatting. So we do a lot of things with AI tools, but we put it into the right place. We mapped the processes of the clients really well, and we see, okay, here we can replace it for AI, here we can replace it for automation, because people also tend to think that AI and automation are the same things, and AI is actually a tool that can help you write better, think better. You can add it to...
It's not even write better, it's write like you
Yeah,
consistently.
exactly.
Write like your best recruiter in a consistent way all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Then a automation comes within the next step, which is where can I introduce this? And we usually introduce it on low effort and repetitive tasks. So we identify where are the repetitive tasks, where are the manual work, and we implement the automation or AI solution there so that the clients can focus on what really matters. So you now can focus on strategy, define your recruitment roadmap really well, define how you will approach the candidates, and you will not have to send invitations manually or be in contact with hiring managers a lot. So we tend to implement it where it's repetitive.
AI will help a lot on admin tasks.
Yeah,
So that
exactly.
cause a lot of overhead, and people should see that in a positive way. Admin tasks that are time consuming and really kind of administrative task should be more automated with the right systems, with the right process, leveraging AI. It's a great help to automate that big part of it, but they should say, now I have more time to added value tasks like this, speaking with candidates, convince them to sign the contract, convince them that they should join our company,
and improve their overall experience. We work with a lot of consultancy company. For example, to give feedback, a lot of companies lack in follow-up and give feedback to the candidate. So how can we introduce automation over there versus where should be the human touch doing that? So we basically focus on that. Where are the tasks that add the most value? What can only be done by a person, which is empathy, connecting with the candidate, create like a good candidate experience, and leave the rest to automation.
Because something that we also see at Sprint CV, for example, we are more focused on life cycle of a CV within the organization. And usually we are not a recruitment solution. So we are not the ATS. So we are, after you got the candidate or you contacted him, usually what happens, we have two scenarios. We'll also cover, it's really into process. So they have two scenarios for consulting companies and consulting on outsourcing. Usually they need to first identify if the CV is good or not. Our parser already can load all the data. Second, they will have to conduct an interview. And here it's funny because when you start to speak about the companies, you see that to prepare the interview, they need to copy paste all the CV to interview guide. And usually if you are a Portuguese company, the CV came in English, you need to translate the CV to Portuguese and then run the interview and put all your notes. We have identified that. With Sprint CV, you already convert the CV directly to your interview notes and we translate it. Just translation, we don't do any change. We just do the normal translation. So instead of typing all the CV again, they only need to put the delta, what has changed. So after you contact the candidate, you only need to put your notes. Mm-hmm. And then from that note, we already can generate the final CV using the company best practices, how to write a summary, how to write the experience. So we automate all that part, but that's not AI. We set up the workflow manually in contact with the company where we really identify how you want. You really need to share screens. You need to share the experience. If not, it's impossible to recreate the process without sharing the experience. Then later on, we teach them, look, all these candidates that you are contacting today are super values for positions of tomorrow. Many times they say we have ATS, but we don't know anything about what the data is there. For us, it's like a pile.
It's just a black hole. It's just a black hole of
pile of gold. So you are seated on a pile of gold and you cannot extract anything of it. And then you always go to LinkedIn and you start to spam people. So this system, like Sprint CV, it collects all the data that is within the CV and you just share the job description and then it tells you, okay, here are the best 50 candidates that you should give a call to see if there's a new position. And then by sharing experience with the customer, we also start to realize we need to have the option to convert a CV or map a CV. Nowadays it's very aggressive, the market. So you need to convert all the CV and adapt it to a job description automatically. Many times there's also raises issues, the gap between the job description and the candidate. So maybe you interviewed for one position. This is a different position that he also fits, but you need to collect more data. So we also are automating that part of doing the gap and then asking the candidate in a fast way to improve the candidate experience. Hey, do you have 15 years of Java? Because we only see 7. Ah, yes, I do. I forgot to report on the CV. Because I think the big problem that the industry has is the gap between what you have put on your CV and the job description that the client is asking, and only the candidate knows. So,
And what the candidate actually do. I mean, doing a CV is not a super funny
especially in
activity
IT,
for
people
the
hate it.
candidates.
Especially in IT, people hate it. IT developers, they hate to do CVs.
And you see that they undersell them. So I see
Yeah.
a lot of good developers and even good tech leads and something like that, and they undersell themselves on the CV. So it's already the work of the recruiter to go after that, but to have a
Yeah.
tool that help you compile that, it's really important, because that's a hidden cost for the company when the CV is not good enough, especially if you are, for example, a staffing company or a consultancy
So
company.
staffing is, I think for staffing, their goal is not to do recruitment, is to do coaching of
Yeah.
candidates.
So
They're not
and
recruiters, they're coachers.
And there is an impact. For example, here at AryaHub, we also do recruitment processes. Our embedded recruiters, they also need sometimes to work with CVs, not only receive and analyze, but also to send to clients and so on. There is not just a visual problem, the CV. So you need to really have a good CV in order to sell it. Sometimes it will be your key to enter or to close the candidate or the business. So without a good CV, you will not make it, and then that's a hidden cost of the hours of the recruiter. It can take an hour or two to put a CV like in your template, and if you have a tool that
Using
can
CV, you do it in less than 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
exactly.
So most of our clients, they even don't log into the platform, so we automate the full process. They just forward the CV, and then they get the reviewed CV using their best practices in the right language, in the right formatting back in their mailbox in less than 2 minutes. And so instead of losing time on admin, we try to analyze with the clients every single step that they do manually, and we try to improve it. That brings me also for other example that we also see, and also problem, is the skills management and the vision of the skills within the company. When you're a small company and you know everyone, it's easy to know, it's not a problem. But when you grow to 100, 200, 500 people, you don't know the skills of your people. I believe that's a big problem.
Definitely. The answer for that is that you need to assess them. If you don't have a process, or if you don't have a framework that allows you to access those skills and those competencies, you'll be losing, because you don't know what your people are good at. And I also believe that with these changes that are happening, not only with AI, but as the market evolves, the professionals will tend to be more skill-based instead of just a fixed job role. So the companies should take advantages of what people are good at. So if this person is really tech savvy, maybe let's put him into some automations. If this person is really analytic and strategic, maybe let's put him to analyze the process. And if you cannot access those skills, it's a problem and you'll be losing. And what we usually do here at AryaHub is that we sit with our clients and we introduce frameworks that they can use to access this type of skills, not only through career paths and for people understanding what they want to pursue and what they're good at, but also good frameworks in which you can give the managers for them to access the skills of their teams, and then for the company to know where to put them strategically in a match between what is useful for the company but what motivates the person. So you need to bring a framework in order to assess those skills. Otherwise, we'll be, again, sitting in a pile of gold, as you mentioned, but this time a gold of skills that you have inside your company and you're not taking advantage of them.
We cover a similar topic for large accounts. So usually they use PrinceV as a dual product. So most important for them is to know all the skills of their employees. So we need to know with precision how many Javas we have, how many years of experience do they have, who has working utilities, because we are answering a tender or a RFP or a procurement process of a large account that is working utilities. So we need to identify those candidates or those employees very fast. We work a lot with customers working with European institutions or with government and large accounts. Usually they need to reply to tenders. And what we see is when they need to reply, okay, show me your 50 best developers in Java in a specific CV that they need to comply with the procurement. Usually part of the company stops just to prepare the CVs and find those people within the company. So I can tell you by knowledge that a large company, kind of their recruitment team, stopped recruiting and stopped doing things because they were 5 days allocated preparing CVs. So if you have the right tools with the right automation and you have your house with the right process, you just click in a button and you get all those reports done. You click in a button and you get all those CVs generated in that specific format, or you click in a button and you can rewrite the CVs to match better that job profile that they are asking.
Yeah, and imagine if you already have all the skills mapped. So imagine that you already know the Java that you have in what they've been working at and for how many years and so on. So that framework is there. So you mapped your talent and then you put it together with clicking a button and having the CV ready. It will just save you a bunch of time and a bunch of money, because stopping a recruitment team to formatting CVs and go after the skills, I mean, that's tons of money you spend.
And then I think many times people think on money, okay, we have spent that money, but also how many opportunities are you losing because you are not fast enough?
Yeah,
In a
definitely.
so competitive market, speed is more important, and like being the first, especially on staffing and recruitment and consulting, like nowadays with the way the market is aggressive, the first one that arrives with a very good candidate at the right price, they get the interview. And
they
the
get the
later
deal,
ones,
yeah.
most probably the deal, because well, usually they interview 2, 3, and then they will take one. So if you are the fourth, fifth, too
You will
late.
not get
You
it.
don't
Yeah.
even get the interview, and then when you go there, it's already being given to someone else. So to have all those processes in place, from sourcing, finding candidates, to map the past candidates, to write the CVs properly, submit them to the client in the right way, answer to the technical annexes, and all those things, it can really make the difference of winning a contract or losing a contract.
Losing.
So, yeah, so that's why, especially when you are selling experts and you are selling expertise, to know the skills that you have in house and you have in your candidates and all those things, it's gold. It's not the HR problem, it's a sales problem. It's a very funny market, I would say. It's a very interesting industry, and then with so many things to improve and so many changes, and the market is changing so much. Inês, I would like to ask you one thing to close. How you see AryaHub in 5 years? So you are already with 14 people, which is amazing for a company of 2 years old. You are
Yeah.
going quite well. And how you see it in 5 years? It's a very good question for a founder.
It's a pretty good question, and I see AryaHub growing into two directions. One, it's to continue do what we're doing, like improving processes and bringing a look of continuous improvement to our clients and to our processes. But I think the next funny challenge that we're going to have, it's precisely to bring automations ourselves to the client. So I would like to see Harya bringing also some of these
Best practice
automation
at scale.
opportunities inside of the client, because we access them really well and we say you can put it here, here, and here. And I think the next step is for us to say we can put it here, here, and here. So I see Harya growing into that direction. We are already the full cycle partner into the strategy and the operations. I would like us to give us the next step and be able to also implement all the things that we propose. And I see one of the next challenges that we're going to have here in AryaHub, it's really fun, which is that we're growing our company, and soon probably will be 20 or 30. So we will have to adopt our own processes.
Apply your own
Yeah,
methodology to
we'll have
yourself.
to bring our own methodology inside, and it's going to be a funny challenge to implement and to do it inside of AryaHub. But
Yeah.
I see it mostly growing to keep being like transparent as we are. One thing that it's a non-negotiable for us is to keep being transparent with our clients and bringing always that lean and improvement mindset to our project.
For people that are watching us and they are struggling with the recruitment processes or some internal HR problems, what message you'd like to leave them? I will also leave your contact, the contact of AryaHub, on the comments. So if you want just to leave them a message.
I think the two major benefits of bringing a company like AryaHub to help you redefine your processes and improve your process is that We've seen a lot of things because we've worked with a lot of clients, so we know the best practices, we know where the processes usually break, so we can advise you in order to improve your own processes. But you'll not be getting, and sometimes there it's a problem when you go to a consultancy or an HR consultancy company, which is you're afraid of getting a framework that is already designed and that the company don't even worry to tailor to your reality. One thing you will know for sure here at AryaHub is that you'll have the solution tailored to your things, because we are a boutique and we don't want to grow like to be 100 people. No, we want to keep on being a medium-sized company in order to keep delivering these tailored solutions. And what we'll do is bring our expertise and adapt the best market practices to your processes. So we'll not implement a one solution, one size fits all solution. That's the best thing about us, I think.
Okay, perfect. It was a very good introduction. Inês, it was a pleasure. It was very good to have you here today. So I hope
Thank
that
you.
I'll
It
pass
was
by
really nice
Alentejo
to
this
be
summer.
here as well. Thank you for the invitation.
I'll pass by Alentejo this summer, and then I will eat there.
We are waiting for you. Come
Have a very
here.
nice food. I really like the food of Alentejo.
The sun is waiting for you. Come out of the
Yes,
rain.
I'm counting the days for the sun. I'm counting
Yeah.
the days.
Yeah.
Thank you, Inês.
Nice,
It was a pleasure.
nice,
Many, many
Marco.
thanks.
Thank you.